Here we go. Dan live, sort of. Live and edited. Unedited, I mean. Live, unedited, but also we're just going to move on. Here is the core of Allantia, and we're going to do some tweaks. We love tweaks. We love tweaks here at Dan Hyde's Media Incorporated. We love tweaks. We're going to go back through all my districts and see what can be fixed and try to finish this bad boy up, finish up this chonky boy so that I can move on to my next series, because I have a good idea that I'm thinking about a lot. It's what I think about when I drift off to sleep at night and I want to finish Allantia and move on. Anyway, let's do it. First thing, though, is first. We're having a little problem over in my oil district. My main building appears to have burned down, and so everything is broken. And so we're gonna fix that. All right. Well, that was obnoxious, and now my oil industry has started over from 1 star. Fine. We can recover. Let's do some detailing. Alright, great success. The Arclight Coalition is finished, and I never have to touch it again. And we're almost back up to 5 stars. That was quick. We're doing a lot of production there. Fantastic. Let's start where I intended to start, which is with the House of Restless Wind. Now, this was my first district. It's still kind of my favorite. I just really like the way that it fits together. It was, I don't know, being my first episode, it was... I gave myself time to make a real district without having to rush, which was a problem with some of my other districts, in order to keep the episode time to a reasonable time. So, looking at this district, one thing that I don't necessarily like is how tall the buildings have gotten. And so what I'm going to do is activate high-rise ban, and that'll probably dismantle most of these high-rises. The other thing that I don't like are these two buildings specifically. They're right next to each other, and how incredibly miserable would it be to live in one of these apartments? Very miserable is the answer to that question, I think. So, the game will eventually destroy these, but I'm going to destroy them sooner, and I'm going to... let's get rid of this little guy, and hopefully one big building will grow here. I also really hate these vanilla buildings. They're just so, I don't know, muddy and gross. So that's going to go away. And this apparently is growing back as a little cluster. Oh, I see, it's 2 of them. What is going on here? That's alright. I'm okay with that. This is also growing back as a little cluster. That's interesting. I'm gonna let it happen. I'm gonna let it happen and see what it turns into. And the last thing about this before I detail is the district is called the House of Restless Wind, partially because these engineers presumably come here and they live for a little while until they're finished with the project and they move on. You know, they're like restless wind, but also because they design all of the like the wind power, which never really materialized in Allantia. I ended up not needing it, but now that I have functionally unlimited money, I'm going to add them back in so that the name makes sense. And it's also a nice you know, architectural element that I enjoy. So there you go. House of Restless Wind. This one's a little funky. No? Yeah? No, that's good. Great. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go in and look for opportunities to detail. Cool. We're looking pretty solid on the House of Restless Wind. I love the way our ironwood turned out. I didn't even have to change it much at all. I guess I could add a couple little trees. We're going to move on to the college district. And the college, honestly, I kicked around the idea of changing it to a university just because I'm not really thrilled with the pink roof situation, this kind of Adobe, so on and so forth. But in the interest of just wanting to be done, I'm gonna leave it the way that it is and move straight on to detailing. Markov Institute is finished. I knew that eventually detailing under the freeways here was going to be a nightmare. And I was correct. That was not fun. That was really tedious. But she's a done, and so we can move on. Boom, boom, and boom. Alright, what's next? Let's look at the industrial district. We have a little bit of an issue with supply. So I'm going to just turn some of these productions down. I had them all at 150%, and they are not producing because they're not getting materials. And I think that's costing me money. I'm not exactly sure how the mechanic works, but I am going to look for these, anything that's not producing effectively. I guess everything's doing pretty all right. Here's our fusion generator, or fusion power plant. I also notice we had a traffic problem here somewhere. Where was that traffic problem? Here's a traffic problem at a train station. This I can't do anything about. There's only so much that I can do. Well, I can get rid of this guy. Well, I guess he's fine. I can't speed this up, and putting two train stations right next to each other wouldn't help things. So what I can do is modify these roads a little bit. So I'm going to handle traffic issues as best I can. Alright, we ended up with sort of a surprise pine forest, which I'm okay with. Odd place for it in an industrial zone, but I suppose it's not that far away from residential. Let's look for any more little traffic problems that I'm actually able to fix. This one kind of comes and goes, doesn't it? It is what it is. There's a rad little traffic circle I made many episodes ago. I can fill this in a little bit, I suppose. Cool, and that leads us into, let's do, we have more problems here with supply. So 100%. These guys are still having trouble getting stuff. I wonder if I can increase glass production. Let's increase glass production since we're here. Ferropol Mineral Alliance. So this is my very unrealistic, you know, mineral and ore, unedited talking, make words, so on and so forth. You know what I'm talking about. And we need to see if we can squeeze in one more glass producer, glass producing building. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. Glass manufacturing plant. Not quite. Can I get it in there? Can I cheat it in there? I'll figure something out. Let's fast forward. Close enough. Now, an interesting problem. How does one detail a mining district? Because I don't think trees grow here. At least not the ones that I would want to. I think they kind of shrivel up and die. I guess those are fine. Let's see about vanilla trees. Well, the vanilla trees grow here too. Alright. Yeah, I guess we can detail this, no problem. Doesn't make sense necessarily that there's trees here, but I do not like this empty space. So that is what I'm gonna do. Alright, that actually looks better than I thought a mining district could look. Pretty pleased with it. Yeah. Good. So that's Ferropol Mineral Alliance. What next? What next? Should we just move on to my fishing industry? Let's move on to the House of Whispering Mist. I like this little piece of architecture here. I like the way that it goes up the hill. It kind of reminds me of where I was born, in a canyon in Southern California. And they sort of make the roads work in a way that requires some clever engineering. That part I like. It looks funny on maps, right? It looks like I'm trying to make Christmas trees or stylized Christmas trees or something. But up close it looks good. What I don't necessarily like are the actual fishing bits. The Sunset Harbor DLC was one of the weaker ones in my opinion, because these buildings have roads built in that you can't change, and that is intensely obnoxious. And so in the future I think I'm just not even going to use the Sunset Harbor DLC buildings. That said, I have already worked on some of these little piers, and I like where they're at. I can do a lot more detail work. Cool, that's done. It feels like that's done. Turned into a kind of a stone pine forest situation, similar to the like coastal Bay Area, San Francisco area. The coast out there is really unique, and it has these stone pines that I've never seen anywhere else in the world. So that's finished, I think. Good. Another district down. What do we got? Colby, you hungry, buddy? We gotta feed the dog. So we're gonna pause for a moment. Alright, buddy. You ready? Sit. All the way. Sit. Wait. 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 Okay. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Little booty. Sorry, keep eating. Go. Eat. Yum, 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 yum. Alright. Now that all that excitement's over, what shall we go to next? Let's go to House of Tranquil Stone. And this district actually turned out really cool. I thought it wasn't working initially, but it works. Somehow, it just works. And there's no traffic problems, and everybody seems to be pretty happy. All these buildings are level 5. It's weird. It's almost like I found a glitch. The one thing that I do not like about this district is the commercial zone. This looks like garbage. And the reason that it looks like that is because in my theme editor, I limited the size of the buildings to 2 by 2. Like 4 square buildings, and so they're all that size, and because they're all that size, there's only like 4 options for buildings to grow. So what I'm gonna do is try a couple things to make this commercial district more diverse. And I'm going to fast forward through that, and hopefully we'll end up with something that looks better. I think that's going to be better. It can't be worse, anyway, than what I had before. The other thing that I want to do with this district is add in some more trees. It's a little bit bare, and I think that some more flora would do this district really good. It looks really good, and it's absolutely devastated my frame rate, but that's okay, because it looks amazing. In fact, I'm going to keep this trick in mind for if I ever do like a, excuse me, a Japan build, you know, because they have, out in the countryside, they've got these hills that they just keep wild. And, excuse me, it looks a lot like this. In fact, it's so dense and pretty, I actually kind of want to explore it a little bit with my 7 frames per second. Now that I look at it, this might actually be too dense. It's unnecessarily dense, but goddamn, it looks beautiful. I'm going to leave it. I just want to move on. Looks really good. Okay, great. House of Tranquil Stone, complete. Commercial district growing back in slowly. Let me fix my time of day, y'all. Boom. Alright. Let's do the House of Charitable Earth. Nope, we've skipped the House of Crystal Towers. House of Crystal Towers is interesting. It is doing what I want it to do. It's growing a lot of taller buildings. And while I don't like that they're so close together, it is in character for the district. And so I suppose that part, I'm going to leave it the way that it is. What I am going to change is this park that runs down the center of it, the Reach. Here's a better view. This guy, the Reach. And the intention behind this district is that it looks kind of Floridian and sort of tropical. And so, similar to my university, I'm going to get rid of all the miscellaneous trees and replace them with palm trees. Easy. No problem. Let's move on. Let's move on to the House of Charitable Earth. This district is just kind of chugging along. There's no real trouble. I got a little detailing work to do. I guess the one thing that I have to figure out is what I'm going to do with the Botanica. Right now it looks a little bare. I like its basic layout, but these in-between parts, I either have to go all the way in with saying that they're like cut grass, and add some texture, or I have to add in some natural elements. And I think given the nature of the district as a whole, with the permaculture idea and so on, I am going to add some like grass and some wild-looking grass in here, and then finish up by detailing the rest of the district here. Cool, that looks way better. I should have done that weeks ago. My computer is really starting to chug now. It does not like that. Let's finish up with detailing these other spots. I could spend all day detailing the roads, but I think I'm gonna do... I'll do that off camera. We don't have time, you understand? Time is a precious resource. Let's move on to the House of Dancing Light. This is one of the later episodes, and one of the episodes that I think, or one of the districts rather, that is pretty complete. I don't think I really need to add anything else. When it comes time to shoot my little propaganda video for Allantia, I can see touching it up a little bit, as you do, you know, in the places where you're filming. But I'm not going to do that now. And by touching it up a little bit, I mean adding in more graffiti, not graffiti, but pieces of art, which I guess could be graffiti, in key places, just to make it look a little more, you know, full and active. But what we got is really good, other than some details, some trees I'm adding over here. This needs a little green. Cool. I like it a lot. What else? Alright, we're here. Let's look at the blades. Yeah, we got our little fairy tale world here, which isn't near, it's not close to anything, so nobody's really using it, but that's okay. It's just it's a set piece. Here's Treasure Island, the uncreatively named theme park, and everything just barely fit in there, which I'm pretty thrilled with. Just barely squeezed everything in. 100% of the theme park assets are used. That's nice. Here is the kind of the tourist shard. Excuse me. And this is the building that I'd rather dislike, so that's going to go away. Hopefully it'll grow back differently. And I don't know. It is what it is. It's going good. And my military shard, which I don't want to mess around with. I think it's doing pretty good. There's nothing really growing here. It's all set pieces. That was a fun episode to record. Got my little infantry fighting vehicles down here. Just to, and a navy for some reason, just to say, if you get out of hand, we can handle you. Do what you want, but, you know, within reason, right? Yes. All right, the Crescents. The High Arts District. This building looks like hot garbage. I'm going to try again on that, hope for a better option. This building I actually really like, so we're going to make that historical. And it is not finished, so I'm going to take a moment to finish the Crescents. Cool, the Crescents complete. My intention for this, aside from these really interesting, I think they're interesting kind of sculptural elements in the middle of the district, is that each of these sections has sort of a different biome, and I feel like I achieved that, at least on this side. Here we have kind of the fall biome. I feel like that's pretty clear. Here we have the, I don't know, swampy biome. I could go a little further with this, actually. I missed a spot here. Okay, now we're done for real with the Crescents. And the Crescents also includes sort of these reward buildings that are park adjacent. Anyway, despite the fact that it's kind of gentrified neighborhood, I actually rather like the Crescents. I don't know, it's nice. It's a lot of green, and I dig green. Let's move on to the zoo, and all I have to do is just do a lot of, not even a lot, just a moderate amount of detailing here in the zoo. Zoo complete. Excuse me, animal sanctuary complete. And I can't help but notice that nobody is visiting now that I've pumped up the ticket price to maximum. So the question becomes, do I reduce the ticket price so people attend? Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a dumb question. Of course we do. Is the same also true for Treasure Island? Yeah, it's pretty... It is completely empty. Nobody has attended. So, note to self, don't put the ticket price all the way to maximum. It does not work. Are there any other parks that I've done that to? I don't think so. That one's free. Alright, anyway. Let's move on. House of Falling Leaves, my lumber district. And I really like the look of this one. Even though the buildings are all kind of samey, it still has a really distinct, interesting look. There are a few things that I'm not sure that I agree with. This building is a little close to the others. I'll leave it. I'll leave it there. And then this bit... It's kind of this utility district needs something. It needs, I don't know, it needs details. It just looks really incomplete and kind of unplanned, which it is totally unplanned. So let's figure out what to do with this utility district. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it. That's a nice long episode. I've got a lot done. I feel like most of my island is complete. There are a few little places to, you know, work on these spots. I could just leave it natural, or maybe I'll come back in, but I think that's kind of it for this episode. Maybe, or for the episodes in general, we're sort of done. I suppose if I come up with a clever thing to do with this area, I don't know. Maybe I'll put something in there, maybe I won't. I don't even know what it would be, but that's what I'll figure out in between episodes. Thanks for hanging with me. Dan Live! I hope it was everything you dared to dream. And I'll see you next time.
Going outside? You going outside? You going outside? Let's go!
Go Colby. Go Colby. What do we got? Oh yeah, there's some good pee right there. Sniff that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Hey Colby. Hey. Colby. Colby. Hey. Why are you so small? Just kidding. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.